The shattering was a massive disaster, and it completely changed the world. At its center was the great elder dragon, who had been asleep for hundreds of thousands of years, and when he awoke, his awakening triggered the destruction of the world. However, a few survivors remained, and they built a new world in which they could live. They named the new world Ruja, and the name of the world was later shortened to Ruja. However, the world was in chaos as the continent of Ruja was still recovering from the shattering. Amidst that chaos, one person managed to survive. That was the young man Morax, the prince of the former kingdom of Gahard, now known as Gahard. Morax was a skilled warrior, and he led the Gahard forces to victory in countless battles against the powerful monsters that emerged from the shattering. However, despite his many successes, the Gahard kingdom had fallen, and it had been destroyed by a war with its neighbor, the kingdom of Lag. Morax, who had been tasked with managing the fallen kingdom, had been left to wander the wilds of Ruja by his king, and he wandered from place to place to find any way that he could to support his people. Then, one day Morax encountered a mysterious man who gave him a special stone called an Orb of Light. Morax used the Orb of Light to find hidden ruins, where he found ancient technology. This was something that no one knew existed at that time. With that new technology, Morax began developing a new weapon, which he called the Dark Eye. With this weapon, he was able to finally defeat the monsters that threatened his people. However, the world still wasn't safe, and he still had to protect his people. Then one day, he met a beautiful woman who he instantly fell in love with. This woman was the goddess of water, Sage Merlin. As Morax and Merlin were getting closer, they learned of the dark forces that had been trying to resurrect the great elder dragon. After defeating those forces, they sealed away the dragon. However, in the process, Merlin died. Morax was heartbroken. He was then visited by the great elder dragon itself, who told him that if he could defeat him, Merlin would be revived. However, Morax refused and flew into the sky to return home. But before he left, the great elder dragon appeared in front of him once more, and told Morax that if he defeated the dark forces that were still working behind the scenes, Merlin would be revived. Morax then returned to Ruja. And there, Morax confronted the dark forces himself, and after he defeated them, Merlin came back to life. Morax had saved the world from destruction, and saved his beloved Merlin from her eternal sleep. But soon after, a new enemy arose. A group of dark mages attacked Morax's castle. After he defeated them, he learned that there was someone inside his castle who had been sent to destroy him. That person was Lilisha, the dark mage who had once been his teacher, and Lilisha's goal was to revive the great elder dragon and use its power to destroy the world once more. That night, while Morax was resting in his castle, the great elder dragon appeared and attacked Morax. As it tried to attack Morax, he protected himself by using a special barrier that was developed by Merlin. As a result, the great elder dragon's attack became stuck in Morax's barrier and started to cause damage to it instead. Then, just as Morax was about to fall under the great elder dragon's attack, he saw Lilisha in her true form. Lilisha revealed that she had been the one who had created the great elder dragon, and that she had sent an assassin to kill him. Then, she cast a spell that caused Morax to fall asleep. Morax then awoke in a place he'd never seen before. It was the same place that Merlin had been revived. There, he found Merlin in her true form, and learned that she was a goddess. Merlin had also been attacked by the great elder dragon and fallen into a deep sleep. She then told Morax that he needed to go and wake up her friend. Then Morax returned to Gahard. He then defeated Lilisha once more, but when she was about to die, she revealed that she was actually an old friend of Merlin's. The next day, after learning everything that had happened, Morax went back to the place where Merlin had been revived and found her friend in her true form. The friend then explained to him that it had been her who had created the great elder dragon. She explained that she had been trying to protect the world from destruction by stopping Lilisha from resurrecting the great elder dragon. And as thanks for his help, she told Morax that she would grant him any wish that he wanted.